Welcome everyone to Mail Fuzz TV. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 6, Episode 8. It is called A Fistful of Days. So full spoilers for the episode, and full points for the title, which is one of their better
Disappointingly, maybe my favorite part of the episode. It's not a bad episode. Doesn't live up to the title.
I had fun with it. I mean, it's obviously a late episode. It's it's a late they're all basically just got spare time. They're waiting because their trip to this next mission is delayed, so they're all just having chill time, doing some hobbies. Picard in particular is trying to play some flute, and he keeps getting interrupted at the start of the episode because everyone's still trying to do some work. But yeah, there's a few sub things going, but it all ties into Worf is trying to get out of it by giving himself more work, but Picard insists that he takes some time off. So Alexander gets his wish to go to the holodeck, to go into a program that he has had a hand in creating, where he gets to go to what they keep calling the Ancient West, which I guess, if you go a few hundred years in the future, maybe you would start calling it the Ancient West. And obviously something goes wrong, but it does set up why something goes wrong, though, because they're doing an experiment in engineering, Geordi and Data, and somehow Data's memory gets mixed up into the computer, and it starts affecting different things throughout the ship. We see it happen with the replicators and a few other things, but the main thing, of course, is the story inside the holodeck gets corrupted with evil Datas, and Worf, Alexander, and Troy, who decides to just be in there as well, end up having to deal with that. So the stakes are not particularly high. It's just because it's just the holodecks kind of malfunctioning, and it doesn't feel like they're in particular danger, but it's a decent enough time.
Despite them assuring us that the holodeck safeties are off, we can die in here.
They say it once, but I don't know if I ever really believed it.
No.
But it's a generally entertaining time.
It's fun enough. The title is so good that I was like, I wanted an extra bit for even for one of these fun lighter episodes. Some of them can rise above this still. Like this is still good, but some of them can be great.
Yeah,
this wasn't that.
The only thing is that when they were going through the plot, there's a moment where Alexander separates from them to go and get the money from the bank. This is right before he gets kidnapped, and it sort of raised too many questions, because we've talked before about how big the holodeck room actually is and how big it actually feels, and we've theorized before that it's kind of actually not moving with them, but you just don't see it. The almost like they're on a treadmill to an extent, where it's doing that. But
they're basically in a big virtual boy. Yeah.
But the problem is, though, is that if characters separate and it's having to simulate two different locations for two different people at the same time, that starts to bring into question the amount of room that's in this area. So, I just roll with it. It's not a big deal, but it occurred to me.
It's a big ship. You get a big luxury entertainment area.
Yeah, but we've seen the holodeck with it turned off. We even see it at the end of this episode.
Have we seen all of the holodeck with it turned off? Or have we seen a bit of the holodeck?
Oh, you're theorizing that there's multiple chambers and we just see the one that's near the door.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Just saying, it's possible.
We can roll with that. I did have fun with the Picard being interrupted. Everyone else tries to still do stuff. I mean, it's not all work. I think Crusher wants him to be in her play, which led to the immortal line of Patrick Stewart saying, "I'm not much of an actor," which might be the toughest line of dialogue he's ever had to deliver in the history of his career.
To make us believe that. Oh, that's tough.
Well, he has that line, and then he seems offended when she says, "It's just a small part, just a couple lines, you're the butler." And he's like, "Oh, is that right?
Is that it?
So it's kind of a meta joke, but it also feels like it's saying Picard actually would like a bigger part, if he's going to do it.
Just stroke his ego a little bit.
Yeah. But he insists Worf take his time off, and I did think this was funny because Worf goes back to Alexander and he's like, "So can we do it? And did you get the time off?" And it's funny because you realize that Worf was trying to get himself some work.
Picard actually asked him, "Is there a reason you're trying to give yourself more work?" Worf's like, "No, just do my duty."
He's like, "No, we can go." And then Alexander just throws a cowboy hat on him and tells him to saddle up.
Miserable.
Yeah. And that's the arc of the episode. Obviously, at the end of the episode, he puts it on after everything's over and does the finger guns in the mirror.
Yeah. having a little bit of fun with it.
He's fell in love with the idea of the Western. He understands it by the end.
Yeah.
And you also get that little chuckle when they first go in and they're walking down the main street of the Western, and there's like a prostitute up in the balcony. And he's like, "Alexander, you programmed this yourself?" He's like, "No, Mr. Clark helped us out a little bit."
It was Barkley.
Oh, was it Barkley? Oh, yeah. I didn't even notice the name. Barkley has it. I'll have to have a word with Lieutenant Barkley.
Yeah, that's what made it funnier because it's Barkley just putting these little things in.
Yeah, he's like, you perv. And we know he is a bit of a perv because he had like,
it
Troy.
Tracks him, and we know he has holodeck programming experience.
Yeah. So that actually is even funnier than his Barkley. But yeah, so they go in and like at first Alexander's disappointed because Worf just like deals with it too quickly. He just grabs the bad guy and like
he's like, no. Rewind. Up the difficulty. Just try this again.
Yeah. Well, he said put it up to 4, and I thought, oh, he's going to do it again, but it's still going to be a bit too easy, so he's going to be like, put it up to 10.
Yeah, they clearly have an out of 4 scale.
I don't know if they do. I think it only gets harder than it's supposed to be because of the data problem.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Because it breaks, because they can't pause it after that, and they can't like stop it from doing anything else. Which does lead to the other side of things, though, because they're doing this experiment with data to try and like sort of make it so that data can be like a backup for some of the systems on the ship, which is why he's hooked up to the ship computer. And we get this thing where data starts like it's like a two-way thing where he starts slipping into Western speak, and like it is actually quite funny when the others notice it. Like, it's like Riker, Picard, and like Geordi are with him, and he just says "I reckon" in like a sort of like Westerny way. And then he starts slipping into more Western speech, and they're like, "What's going on there?" Data,
and Data's like, "I didn't say that."
Yeah, he doesn't remember that he's saying it because we say it at first because we have a scene where he's with his cat, and actually that's maybe the most relatable scene in this entire show is that he handcrafts a recipe for posh cat foods. Like, this will be for Spot's taste buds. He'll love this, and Spot just runs away immediately. And goes, "It's very difficult to predict what you'll approve of," and I'm like, "Yep."
And then the cat just immediately jumping in the way where he tries to work.
Yeah, like 3 times. Yeah. I was like, okay, this is a very accurate interpretation of a cat. I'm just gonna put that out there. And given that they're shooting this with a real cat, I also wonder that if they put out maybe the first take that the cat actually did eat the thing. It's like, no, you're supposed to not want this take.
That, or maybe they actively just made it something that smelled bad to the cat, and it would just go away.
Put a stink bomb in it or something, just to make it unappealing. But that was very relatable. But this stuff was pretty funny as they were doing this. There's also like a nice moment with Geordi where he's like doing some tinkering in the back of Data's head, and Geordi's like, I still never get used to you being like this. And Data's like, what do you mean? You work on machines like this all the time. These sort of sensory boards, and he's like, you're not just another like machine, Data. And Data's like, oh, thank you, Geordi. You're not just another biological life form either.
Yeah.
It's all little things.
Amusing little bits, yeah.
Yeah. I like the callback as well, actually. Well, 2 callbacks. One, Picard playing the flute's a callback to his newfound interest in that.
Sure, yeah.
Because they're light. But the other one is that when the play dialogue gets replaced, it's actually Data's poems. Yeah. So I thought that was the nice little...
Do you know what? There was a point where I think that was the first time we saw Riker in the whole episode. Is just doing that. And I kind of thought that we weren't going to see him at all the rest of the episode. I was like, that's your one Riker scene, is him doing some of Data's poetry in this very awkward rehearsal. And that's it. And he's not in much more than that, but it would have been funnier if it was just that.
Yeah, he's just there for the scene where they're talking about the problems in the ship and the fact that the replicators are only doing cat food, which makes sense that the only thing Data makes in the replicator is cat food because he doesn't need food.
Yeah.
So... I mean, actually, it stands to reason, actually, when you stop and think about it. So, and Picard's like, how long will it take to get this fixed? And Geordi's like, 2 hours, which really means 30 minutes, because he's learned from Scotty now. He's learned that if he wants to pull off a miracle, he has to inflate all of his fixed times.
But I think he's still too much of a rookie.
Maybe he's not. Maybe he's not doing it enough. Maybe he's like only shaving off like 30 minutes. And I'm like, no, you need more.
Yeah. Be ambitious.
Yeah, if it's going to take 2 hours, you tell him it's going to take 8.
Yeah. Really push your limits.
Because Picard's not going to know. He's not an engineer. He can't go down and tinker things and.
No, it takes as long as it takes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so it's when they're dealing with the villain early on, Troy shows up, and I actually wasn't sure at first if it was her playing a character and she was just really into it, or if like this is the start of it malfunction and it's put in a Troy. And it wasn't until afterwards where she gets like annoyed and says, "No, my name's this. You know, I'm the mysterious stranger. You don't call me counselor.
Let me have fun, damn it."
And then he calls her counselor, whatever the fake name is, which just made it funny. Yeah, it's all very delightful. It's kind of funny to me that like Betazoid like has like westerns from Earth, because she says, you know, her mother used to show her like ancient westerns from Earth, and I'm like, oh, it's interesting that the culture is all mingled up, so the Earth like movies and stuff have.
Yeah, she's only half Betazoid though, right?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, but her mother is the one that showed her though, and her mother's.
It is, but I'm guessing. I'm assuming that came from the relationship with her father.
Ah, okay. So basically, she's trying to like keep her father alive through westerns because because we know that Mama Troy's depressed.
Yeah. For
being single. She's had a couple of close calls with some suitors.
She's down bad. Yeah.
Yeah. So that makes sense. And they do some fun little things with the cinematography to make it feel westerny. You know, like when they walk out of town or when they go into the saloon, there's just a lot of little things where the way it starts a certain scene here or there is like, okay, they're trying to pay homage to how a western is shot.
They know the tropes. They understand it.
Yeah, it's nothing particularly spectacular. It's just the simple like western tropes, yeah, and that's it.
I will say I wish they did more with the Datas. Like,
sure.
They make a point of going, hey, they've got Data's abilities. It's not just his face. It's like they're basically Data, and I don't feel like they really did enough with that. They're like, hey, they got like all this speed and agility, and yeah.
No, it was basically just a way to say that he would be better in like, the quick draw. That was all it was. It
was, and I'm like, I kind of wish they'd like maybe played with that, and maybe okay, well, Data's got the strength as well. Like maybe just do a little bit of extra stuff to play with to make it feel a bit more unique.
Yeah. Although I do like, because it's kind of a homage to Fistful of Dollars when Eastwood puts like the metal under his poncho to like take a bullet. I do like the idea that the equivalent in this is Worf jerry-rigging his communicator as an energy source for a shield that will last 15 seconds. I was like, you know what, that's a really Star Trek-y take on that trope, and I kind of dig that. So
yeah, I did like that as well.
So evil Data like wastes these like 6 shots on the shield, and then Worf obviously wins, but he doesn't kill him because he wants to show his son that like violence isn't the way, kind of thing.
Even in the Western.
Which is nice enough. I mean, the gist of the episode, in terms of plot, is that the villain who's supposed to be the father of the bad guy at the bar turns into Data, and he kidnaps Alexander. He's more vicious and more calculated because he has all of Data's like smarts, and wants to trade his son for Worf's son, but in the story, the deputy, because he's Alexander's the deputy.
So it's a standard hostage swap.
Yeah, pretty much. And by the time you get there, you're towards the end of the episode. By the time it all plays out, you do get the first instance where like evil Data walks in, and Worf thinks it's Data at first, but obviously figures out that it's not really him. There's something not quite right, and then the son turns into a Data as well. And then the big joke, the henchman that he's got also turned into Data briefly during the fight scene, during the shootout.
The Mexican one.
Yeah, with the mustache. But the big thing is right at the end is that the barmaid who in the story has got a history with Worf's character.
Yeah, which is a kind of repeated gag as the episode goes through anyway.
Yeah, she comes up and wants to kiss him and say, "Hey, come over for dinner tonight. I'll do this and that." And then when he declines her politely, she's like, "Oh, you've been spending too much time down at the whorehouse." She didn't say whorehouse, but that's what she's talking about.
Yeah.
And she's mad at him for it. And at the end of the episode, the joke is that Data, like, she's turned into a Data as well. So it's Data in the barmaid outfit comes down and wants to like hug and kiss Worf, and like he's trying to turn off the program and it's not quite turning off, and then it just turns off before he's going to have to kiss Data, and then it like there's this sigh of relief as they're back in the empty hall. There's like, thankfully.
Yeah.
And that's basically
just
it.
in time.
Yeah, that's
it's very straightforward. It's fun enough though. It's just Like I said, I think that they could have done a few little things to go above and beyond and make it feel a bit more unique.
Yeah, there's no stakes, and it's never high drama or anything like that. But at the same time, I was never not like entertained. I was never not just enjoying the fun of the episode and the actors being these slightly different roles. And Worf, I think Worf generally, when he's got an episode that's about him, it tends to be more serious because he's Klingon. It tends to be more about his past has been challenged and he's like deciding what he wants to be or whatever.
Lighthearted for him, yeah.
Yeah, so it's actually kind of nice that he gets like a lighthearted, just silly episode where it's just a bit of fun bonding with his son, and it makes sense that his son's the one who wanted to do this.
And they'll be going and doing it more, I'm sure.
Sure, I suspect he will. But
I definitely feel like they wrote that at the end there just as an option, so that we can revisit this with a sequel Western episode later, should we choose to. Like they did with some of the earlier Data ones. The Sherlock
sure.
Holmes ones.
I mean, I think the ending with him putting on the hat and doing the finger guns would have happened anyway. Like, because that's the arc of the episode.
I agree, but more just they were like, oh, we'll go and do that again sometime. If the town ever needs a sheriff, if there's trouble. I felt like it was just hey, should we choose to? The options there, like the Data Sherlock ones that we had earlier on in the show.
Yeah, I'm sure if the audience reaction was like really positive about this episode, then maybe they would have made a point of doing a sequel to it. But I don't know if they did or didn't. But
for all we know, there is still one in the last season.
Yeah, but he actually even smiles after he does the finger guns, and it's rare to see Worf smile. So it's kind of nice that he got to bond with his son on like an activity that wasn't just Klingon heritage and combat. This is this is something different. This is a bit more role playing. I mean, hell, Westworld is a whole thing based around the idea of living out your fantasies of being in the Old West. So it's hardly a new idea. So. That was a decent fun time. I basically have no complaints. It's just a fun light episode, so it's not going to be.
Yeah, my complaints come down to it could have done these extra things, but nothing it did do was actually wrong. Like everything it did was perfectly good.
Yeah, so good time. Can't complain. Next episode is called "The Quality of Life," and here's the description as per IMDb. When Geordi is assigned to survey a new mining development with Dr. Farallon? No, that's two L's. Farallon, yeah. Dr. Farallon, who invented an experimental mining technology, she uses a new sophisticated robot called an exocomp to repair a power grid. Okay. It doesn't really tell us what the...
I have no idea what the episode's actually going to be, or what the vibe of it is.
Yeah, directed by Jonathan Frakes, so it's a Frakes directed one.
Those tend to be on the the half decent side at the very least.
Oh, actually, do you know who's directed this episode?
Go on.
Patrick Stewart.
Oh, really?
I just went back to check to see if it was anyone noteworthy. I was like, oh, it's Patrick Stewart. Fair enough.
Yeah. They did a perfectly fine job.
Do you know what? I wonder if it's like... It's probably not an accident that he got a light episode and it's like, oh, this is a gimmicked one. You do Western stuff. And he's like, oh, yeah, great. Like, maybe he likes Westerns. It stands to reason he probably does.
He's a fan of cinema.
Yeah.
He probably does, yeah. Especially given his age and how popular Westerns would have been.
Yeah, it makes sense that he got that episode to direct. It's like, it's not a super high stakes one. It's just, a nice little fun one for you to like dip in and do some Western stuff.
Whereas like Frakes has earned a lot of higher stakes ones at this point.
Oh yeah, he's done a number of episodes at this point already, yeah, and he's done some good episodes at that. So there's a reason why he got to direct 2 of the movies. So
there's a reason why he has an actual directing career after the show.
So fair play. So we'll see how it shapes up. Next episode, but that's what's coming up. Let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like, subscribe, ding the bell for notifications. All that stuff does help. You can also hit the thanks button if you want to support us financially that way, or of course you can go over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV and support us for as little as $1 per month and get a bunch of bonuses. $5 and up, you get early access to these Trek episodes by about 6 days. So go, if that's of interest and you want to go have a look at that, then go, please do, and hopefully we'll see you over there. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching Star Trek, and somewhere out there, it's not Wesley Crusher. It is now Data who is in complete control.